What's up? This is the After Action Review for April 22nd. It is a Monday after the Big Bass Bash. Well, let me give a shout out to all the dock workers out there, all those welders, all those people selling docks, all those people putting in the new walkways, putting in the cables, making sure your dock is squared away, putting in the new lifts for their big boats, their bass boats, their pontoon boats, their tri-toons, all the John boats out there. Give me a shout out to all of them. Hardworking people. I love them to death. But there's one dock company out there, I'm not going to mention their name, who just happened to start using our lift. It's at a condo dock. There's a lot of different slips, but they started using ours and left their work pontoon on our lift throughout the Big Bass Bash. Now, normally I would just let it slide off my shoulders, and I guess I have, but I guess I'm still a little upset about it. No matter what, people, don't touch other people's lifts. I mean, if you got to get a crappie jig that you got hung up off a dock and you got to run up there and get it and get off, there's people that are, it's not as bad as it used to be, but there's people that get on other people's docks, tie up to them and crappie fish. Don't do that. Don't use somebody else's lift. How in the world, that would never even cross my mind as something to do, to jump up and put my boat on someone else's lift. Anyway, let's get to it. The Big Bass Bash, we had tons of people here. There was fish caught on topwaters, buzzbaits, the crocodigator with the black, it's not a horny toad. I don't know, I forgot what your all's toad is called. My bad, Joey. But that toad with the crocodigator black with the gold blade, that was working. Chopos were working. We fished up the river to start with. There was, obviously our dock was being used. Our dock is in the Grand Glaze. And my parents have a house up in the river. So I said, Lord, maybe this is a sign, Lord. I'm supposed to be fishing up the river. So on Saturday, we fished up the river. That was a horrible mistake, or I was doing something different up there, but everybody else that I talked to that was up there didn't do very well either. If the fish are spawning up there, obviously you can't really see them unless you get into a clearer pocket, but even then, it's super hard to see spawning fish up there. So I guess I was moving too fast on Saturday. I did catch quite a few fish, but they were not big enough. So on Sunday, we fished PB2. By the way, I fished with my daughter. She's 8. So, I'll just say, the dynamics of your day is different when you have an 8-year-old in the boat. And we were trying to catch bluegill and crappie and catfish, and we got all that accomplished. She even wanted to catch a drum, which we caught a drum even. She caught everything except a big enough bass to weigh in, but she weighed in a crappie and a bluegill and a catfish, which she was happy about it. I know she was a little disappointed at the weigh-in because she wasn't in the top 3. Story of my life there. Maybe we had a good hard lesson there. We don't win every time we go. So I don't know if that will get her out on the water more. You know how kids are. The older they get, the more other type of activities they like to do. So I don't force her to go out there, but I'm certainly there if she wants to. So we didn't catch any checks. We still had a great time, still loved it. The weather was a little bit tricky, so the wind blew out of the north on Saturday, and then it was blowing north, northeast, west, I don't know what. On Sunday, we didn't have quite as much wind on Sunday. And I knew there was fish spawning somewhere, so But we stayed around PB2, but it seemed like to me that those fish were not pulling up around PB2 like they are in other ends of the lake. So fast forward to today, with all the dock talk of the spawners and everything, I put in at Shawnee Bend today, and let me tell you, they are not pretty much everywhere, but they are pulling up. So I caught a ton of fish today on a wacky Cinco. That's nothing special. That's nothing that's not known throughout now, with everybody coming here to pre-fish and starting to see fish on the beds. But wherever you can see, wherever it's clear, if you find the right pocket, they're everywhere. If you can go into the next pocket and the rock's not right, the temperature's not right, it's just like pre-spawn. It's like they're not even up there yet. I think a lot of the fish that I caught today were brand new ones coming up. There was some up there just looking around, trying to figure out, a lot of them I caught today were not off a bed. Now, a lot of the males that I caught that were keeper size, I caught fish between 2 and 4 pounds that were keeper size. So I say one either big male or one female, and the rest were all bucks. So it's either super early spawn or some of those bigger males are still up there on a bed. I know there's females being caught off beds. I just haven't found them yet. So I don't know if I'm not timing it right or if I'm not in the right part of the lake. So I would categorize everything still in a pre-spawn pattern right now. But of course you can find a lot of beds, and so pre-spawn spawn, and it kind of depends on what part of the lake. So I don't know, if you don't get out on the water between now and the next week, you're not going to see everything that's going on here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Then we're going to have next weekend. I think the BFL is coming up in the next 2 weekends. So I think there will be way more fish pull up if you're relying on the moon. The moon's full or getting full right now, so we're having this big wave come in. So apparently I have a bird's nest up in the corner of the garage here, so I apologize. But the massive wave that comes on the full moon in May, of course, isn't here yet. So I think we're going to have fish spawning from now all the way through the end of May, unless it just really gets hot and they're just done. But we still have at least 2 or 3 weeks. So if you like wacky worming and wacky cincoing and all that, get into some clarity, some water with some clarity, and be stealthy. And you can pick them right off the bed with it. You can throw it randomly and catch them. They're just kind of all moving up. But if you're not seeing stuff up shallow and it looks murky and it looks bad, move. Go to the next pocket. One pocket to the next is night and day difference between if you're going to catch a bunch of keepers or not get a bite at all. So keep moving around. A lot of the pockets that I fished today were main lake pockets. I didn't know if I could, stay in the main lake instead of running the back of the creeks. I know the creeks have been pounded the last 2 days, so those sneaky little main lake pockets, they're holding fish right now. This isn't anything new. This isn't anything that's not put out. I'm seeing the YouTube videos out. Jeff Hoots, Denise, James Dill, Casey. There's a lot of good information out there right now that's a way better information than what I'm giving you. But the only reason I'm recording it is because, for example, I had a podcast, or whatever you want to call this, April 16th last year. April 16th, where I had caught 2 fish over 6 in Pearson, and I don't know if those fish were spawning yet, but I caught those fish on a buzzbait, and they had bloody tails. So they were either in the rocks, or they were spawning, or they were just up there. I don't know, but that was April 16th, and everybody's like, well, it's April 20th now. This is the earliest I've ever seen them spawn. Well, some places up the river get warmer. You know, I was talking to a guy this morning, talking about up there in Turkey Creek, up there in Deer, Buffalo, Rainy. They can get on the beds up there early. Now, I didn't think they would jump up this early throughout the lake with the water level where it is, but when they're ready, they're ready. So anyway, you can still catch a lot of fish doing pre-spawn things, but if I'm taking my daughter back out this afternoon after school, hopefully she wants to go, we're going to be wacky Cincoing, and that is about it. So that's a good way to catch numbers right now. If you put it right in front of a big one, she'll eat it too. So you can't beat the Cinco right now. And people tell me this type of stick worm works better than this and that. I'm telling you today, if I didn't have a Cinco on, the way it falls, the way when it's in the bed and I'm shivering it, I put on a generic one that I poured a long time ago, they wouldn't touch it. I put that Cinco on and dip the tail in chartreuse and they'd eat it, they'd attack it. So I don't know what it is. Well, it's the shimmy. And I just can't explain why that makes them want that bait so much, but there's no denying it. The Cinco is king at the moment. So thanks for listening. Thanks for letting me get a little off my chest there. I think a buddy of mine said before the tournament started this weekend, he said, let level heads prevail. And I try to tell myself that all weekend. You know, I only got cut off a few times this weekend. Didn't really get mad. I just kind of waved at them and went on my way. It's the Big Bass Bash. It really wasn't as crowded as I expected, but of course I was not really in the right area. So if it's a Big Bass Bash and you're not getting a lot of crowded water, you might want to think about what you're doing. But we had fun. We had fun with it. So if you're ready to catch some fish in a lot of numbers, you need to get down here right now and go. I mean, it's pretty much the best time of year to be down here. Unless you just really love top water, that's going to get better and better as we get through May. But it's working right now. So if you like top waters, get down here. If you like wacky worming, get down here and find the conditions that will work the best for what you like to do. Because when you turn around and the wind's not blowing in this pocket and it's calm, or you go to another pocket and the wind's blowing in there, you can do anything you want to do right now and catch fish. So it's a great time to be here. The bash is over. I mean, really, thank goodness. If you've ever want some stress, get an 8-year-old that really wants to win first place in every single division and trying to, instruct casting and setting the hook and all that kind of stuff. I know the guides out here, they do it all the time. It's fun when you catch them, but those down times when you're trying to keep them motivated and keep them interested in it, they're either interested or they're not. So anyway, it was stressful for me, and once we caught some, it was great, but I'm glad it's over. So this isn't supposed to be stressful. This is supposed to be fun. And now, like today, I don't know how many fish. I don't even know how many keepers I caught today, guys. They knew the bash was over or something. Because I stopped looking at them. You could just throw a wacky anywhere and they just attack it. So I think it's a lot of new fish moving in, and I just hit it at the right time. So just goes to show you every day's different. And but anyway, thanks for listening. Got to record what temperatures I'm seeing. When I put in this morning, 58, 59 even. And then when I took off the water about noon, it was in that 60, 61, 62. Of course, if you're in that 62-degree water range, that's where most of the fish have beds. If you're in dirty water, I guess slow down and look for the warmest water you can if you're up the river. but slowdowns because they kind of went off of the spinnerbait, chatterbait. There's fish being caught, but I'm just saying if they're on a bed in the dirty water, I should have really slowed down with something. But it was a little hard to do in the wind. But anyway, 62 degrees. The water level is 650. I don't know, 4. I don't know. They keep pulling it here and there. So it's still steadily, it's not dropping real bad, but it's still low. Still low water levels. They're not letting it fill up. Hopefully we get some rain. That will change the fishing a lot. Though we need that water flow, and we don't have hardly any flow right now unless they turn it on. But I'm talking about we need backwater flow. We don't have any flow in our backwaters. And where there is, it's very shallow in the back of these creeks, and we need the water to come up. So that would help. But the fish are still there. They haven't left. So figure it out. Thanks, you guys, for listening to me. I know there's not a whole lot of listeners, but the ones that are listening are asking a lot of questions, and I'm getting a lot of interaction, and I really appreciate that. But till next time, we will see you guys at Lake of the Ozarks. We'll pretty much be here throughout the summer until this fall. We're going to be hitting up Table Rock quite a bit. As soon as it starts to get real busy here on the lake, we're going to be on the Gasconade, the Jacks Fork Current, and we're going to do a lot of river fishing this summer, hopefully. So stay tuned for that. Be safe. See ya.